What's going on, guys? This is episode number 17 of the Going for Two podcast with Jansen Hunter. I'm your host, Hunter Waldrop. This is my best friend and co-host, Jansen Jasperson. Jansen, how we doing, brother?
We're doing great, man. We got a good We got a good rivalry week coming up. Last week was kind of iffy. Top teams didn't perform their best as we saw, but hopefully
Yeah,
this week
it was
they can.
definitely trap week.
Yes,
Definitely trap week.
I agree. Hopefully this week they can bounce back and show everybody that they're meant to be in the top 4. And I think rivalry week is a perfect spot to do that. So excited for this week.
100%.
Excited to come to Georgia. Shout out Big John Waldrop for having me come out for the Georgia game. Really
It's
excited
going to
for
be a good
that,
one.
and it's going to be a great week.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
I'm looking forward
tomorrow.
to that.
Got some great football this week. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, man.
Let's hop right on into it, man. We got some games to talk about from week 12, week 13 / rivalry week preview, a little college football playoff outlook. Um, teams are really starting to dwindle down, and there's less and less contenders by the day. We have a special guest coming on here in a little bit, the winner of the contest from last week. So I'm ready to get right on into it.
Me too. All right. But first and foremost, make sure that y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Going for Two podcast with Jansen and Hunter. Once you subscribe, there'll be an option for you to turn on our post notifications, and it will notify your phone or your computer or your iPad, wherever you subscribe from, or wherever you're logged into YouTube. And it'll let you know when we drop our episodes every week. And give us a follow on Twitter at going_for2. Hunter and I get on there on the weekends and tweet out games that we've talked about on the pod or games that we are watching during the weekend. So if you could give us a subscription on YouTube and a follow on Twitter, it'd be greatly appreciated. All right, let's dive on into this past week.
Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is bring on the guest. Everybody, please welcome the winner of the Going for Two pod contest. This is Mason Thomas.
What's up,
Mason,
guys?
how you doing, man?
Good, y'all. Thanks for having me, man.
Good. I'm glad you could join us,
Glad
Jansen.
you're here.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. We're glad you participated. He actually had to go twice. It was a great contest, won by 1 point, and the tiebreaker from last week. But let's get right into the games. USC versus UCLA. Jance, I'll let you kick us off here.
First thing I want to say is this game was brewing from the start. UCLA and USC, they got blood for each other. They hate each other. I mean, Battle of California. You got Southern Cal against uh, Central Los Angeles, and then you got just two very high known football teams, very good football teams. Battle of two very good quarterbacks in Caleb Williams and Darian Thompson Robinson. And this was kind of like a who wants it more kind of thing. And I think USC had a great point to make coming out and still having their playoff hopes alive. And they needed this to add to their resume. And just like I thought, this game was going to be hard nosed, fought between the trenches, and I mean, it proved me right. So this was by far the greatest football game this past weekend, for sure.
Well, I'll just go ahead and add on to that. I'm just going to correct you. It's University of California at Los Angeles.
I know.
I know you were stuttering on your words there. But Southern Cal versus UCLA, great game. I mean, this is why we love college football, because this rivalry the past few years obviously hasn't been looked at that well. And both teams have had a really good season up to this point. Both teams have still had a really good season. USC is now controls their own destiny, if you ask me, and are a true playoff contender. UCLA came into the game with 2 losses. A lot of people had them, maybe a little bit right at 500, a game over 500, but they've been playing really well. I think Caleb Williams has certified himself as the top dog in the Heisman race as of today. Now, that can change over the next 2 weeks for sure. USC and Lincoln Riley, year 1, Pac-12 championship bound. Chip Kelly and UCLA still doing good stuff over there. But, I mean, this game's a little questionable. DTR had 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. I mean, and they just continued to find a way to go down the field, and it was like whoever had the ball last was going to win. And UCLA, man, once again with the turnovers, DTR throws a interception right around midfield for the game-winning interception to USC, and that was it. But USC played very good, finding a way to win, caused a lot of turnovers. But shout out to UCLA for keeping it close and not backing down. And shout out to the Rose Bowl for actually being sold out for the first time in God knows how long. But Mason, is there any other comments you would like to add?
I mean, this game here was a barn burner. I think it was UCLA played hard. I think it was a really good win for USC, and they got good momentum going into next week. And they got a legit shot to make the playoffs. So I think they're going to play really hard for that. So that was a good win for them.
I agree. All right. Hunt, anything else you want to cover for this game?
No, sir. I'm good as far as this game goes because I know we'll talk about USC a little bit later on. I know we got
a lot to cover here on.
So I'm trying to, not go too far in depth on some of this stuff. I just cover the basics because I know we're going to talk about most of these teams again later on in the show. So
yeah,
I'm good.
All right. Into Week 12 recap. Hunter, you can start if you would like.
All right, I will with this sorry performance by my Georgia Bulldogs. This was absolutely terrible. Kind of disgraceful if you ask me. I've been on my high horse a lot recently, and this game definitely brought me down, and I'm probably going to get right back on it after Saturday when we blow out our little brother known as the Georgia Tech Nerds. But besides the point, Stetson Bennett, you looked like trash because, well, Mason and I talk about this all the time, ironically, that if it's not a big game or if it's like, not really going to be in question, Stetson just goes out there and doesn't really care. And that bothers me.
Yep.
The defense, all around solid performance. Kentucky did put together some nice drives, but only gave up one touchdown. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. But I mean, Stetson Bennett played so bad after the first drive of the second half. After he threw that interception, he didn't throw another pass the rest of the game. But shout out Kenny McIntosh. Best game he's had as a Georgia Bulldog in his college career. So that was really good to see him break 100 yards, score a touchdown, and yeah. But one thing I do want to say is for these first three games, we're going to talk about Georgia, Kentucky, Michigan, Illinois, TCU, Baylor. All three of these teams, man, they all struggled really bad. So number 2, Ohio State. I know we didn't cover them last week, so we didn't bring them on today because we're going to get more into them versus Michigan later on the show. But, I mean, the top 4 teams did not play like top 4 teams. But, hey, I think all of them might have needed a little reality check, excluding TCU. But Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State, they needed a little reality check, and I think it was going to make all of them better. But as far as Georgia goes, pretty simple week this week against little brother, and then going on to Atlanta. So that's about all I got on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to add other than this was a pretty sorry-ass game for Georgia. I think that they should have blown Kentucky out by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. But like you said, I mean, I think Georgia steps down to their opponent and steps up to their opponent when needed. And this is prime example of stepping down. As we know, Kentucky isn't all that good this year. And, yeah, I mean, I think Georgia could have played way better. But, I mean, I heard Kirby Smart say that it's not about – it's the only thing about it is winning. Like, as long as you win, it doesn't matter, is what he basically was saying in the post-game interview. But that doesn't help my pocketbook and neither of y'all's. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, Mason, you want to touch on anything for as far as I know you want to say something about the Dogs, so you go ahead and say it.
I'm a big Dog fan here. Georgia really let me down. Big game step was not there. Kenny McIntosh did have a really good game. I was happy to see that. He really needed that. And it's just sorry, man. I was not happy with it. Just seems like we was trying to get through that game with no injuries, which I'm glad we didn't have any injuries. But it just seemed like we was just trying to get through it. It seems like we did not show up to play at all, which really let me down. But we got the W, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So
exactly.
Yep. I'm not going to touch much on these next few, just because we have a lot of games we're going to talk to for rivalry week. We have to do something special for our guest. But I will say, Michigan, man, you showed your identity this week, and what I mean by that, as soon as Blake Corum went down, y'all struggled. You I don't even know. You just panicked. It's like you almost peed down your leg. It was bad, and Illinois, like I know a lot of people don't watch a lot of Illinois football, but like they were in the lead for the Big Ten West for a while. I think they started out like 6-1, 7-1, and their defense is actually top notch. It is very good. Brett Bielema is doing a good job for the talent he's going to bring in at Illinois so far. So the defense showed up, and I mean, Michigan, another thing, just trying to get through the game. I know Donovan Edwards was out. I think they were down to like their third or fourth string running back, so they didn't have a lot of help. But JJ McCarthy, one thing I will say, this has been your thing all year. You trying to play too perfect. Sometimes you gotta let the deep ball fly. You can't be scared to make mistakes. You gotta trust your boys. And if that's not something you're gonna do against Ohio State, it's gonna be a long day, especially if Corum and Edwards are out. Um, but Michigan does get the job done. They do go to 11-0, and now they got to play Big Brother this week. So they did get the win 19-17. But shout out Chase Brown, the running back for Illinois. He's a dog. He's probably the second best in the Big Ten behind Corum, in my opinion. Yeah. And then that defense is solid for Illinois. And I mean, hey, they went into the Big House, Ann Arbor, and put on a good show, and they were very close to winning this game. So.
I mean, like you said, I think Michigan did show their true colors once Blake Corum went down. And my thing is if he didn't play against Ohio State, how are you going to put up points? Because that Ohio State defense, in my opinion, is better than this Illinois defense. And if you're only going to put up 19 on this Illinois defense, then I don't think you're going to be able to put up anything on Ohio State. But, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he's healthy and able to play, because that's what you want to see, everybody be able to get in there and make an impact on a big game like that. But, I mean, that's all I got to say about Michigan. Just another sorry performance, just like Georgia and just like TCU. I mean, even Ohio State, I know we're not talking about it, but even Ohio State had a sorry performance against Maryland. I mean, they almost lost. Yeah. And then CJ Stroud kicked it on in the fourth quarter and never looked back. So,
well, Mason, anything?
I mean, a lot of true colors got shown that game with Michigan. I mean, like y'all said, Blake Corum's their heart and soul, and once he went out, it's tough for them. And if he, like y'all said, isn't playing, they are gonna struggle. But that's all I really got to say about Michigan.
I got you. Well, I'm going to try and rapid fire this as quick as possible. But TCU Baylor. All right. I'm just going to go through three in a row, and then if y'all want to add anything else at the end, y'all can. How about that? So, TCU Baylor. Okay, this was a very, very exciting game to watch. If you ain't watching TCU football, there's something wrong with you, because it always comes down to the last possession, it feels like. Maybe excluding that week against Texas. But besides that, almost every single game coming down to the wire, and it's exciting to watch. It's fun. Shout out Sonny Dykes for having the nuts to absolutely run the ball and plan for your field goal team to run on and your offense to run off all in 12 seconds, and as time expires, the ball goes through the uprights. A lot of people think that wasn't meant to happen, but I'm pretty sure that was the plan, because that's something we practice in high school. You can ask Mason. I mean, that's stuff you practice in high school, is, throw the defense off and whatnot, and they made it look pretty.
Oh, yeah.
Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson, that TCU offense, man, they just don't ever give up. They just got to hold on for 2 more games. If they can hold on for 2 more games, they'll be set and ready to go. And TCU, they play Iowa State this week, and then Baylor, you play Texas this week. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Oregon, this was a big gut-checking game for you. You really needed another win after a terrible loss to Washington 2 weeks ago. Utah, man, you were supposed to be the Pac-12's darling this year, and you just couldn't quite get it done. But that's about all I got on this game. Bo Nix wasn't even 100%. Cam Rising, 3 picks. I mean, the team that was supposed to win won, in my opinion. Oregon taking home a nice win. Now they just win against Oregon State this week, and they're in the Pac-12 championship against USC. So that should be fun. And well, Texas destroyed Kansas, and that's all I got to
Yeah.
say.
There's nothing even to say about Texas, Kansas. I mean, that was a absolute beatdown. Like disrespectful what they did to Kansas, in my opinion. But TCU Baylor. The only thing I got to add is TCU. You were fraudulent. I think you should have lost this game. I think that field goal was crazy. And Oregon, I think the better team won in this game. And like you said, Utah was going to be the kind of like the sweet sob story of the Pac-12. And I mean, once they got 2 losses, I mean, 2-loss Utah is what they're best known for, is playing their toughest football and their best football when they have 2 losses. And Oregon, I mean, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Dan Lanning. Big fan of Dan Lanning. First year there, you win against Oregon State. You're in the Pac-12 championship. It's a damn good start to a a future in Oregon. And then Texas, like I said, absolute freaking beat down on Kansas and way to bounce back after losing to TCU. Does Texas have a shot to still make the Big 12 championship?
Yeah, they do. They have
Yeah.
to beat Baylor, and they have to have Kansas State lose to Kansas.
Okay.
So if they win and Kansas State loses, they're in. If Kansas State wins, they're in.
Hurt.
So Mason, if you want to have any other comments on these last 3 games, you go ahead.
All I got is, why is Texas so bipolar this year? I mean, you don't know which Texas team you're going to get.
Yeah.
You can get one that puts up 55 points, and you can get one that can't score points. I just don't know what's going on over there in Texas.
Yeah, man, me either. It's hard to figure out.
Yeah, it is.
Better than what they have been.
Toughest team to cap this year for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's a hard team to bet on as well.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for the games we had in Week 12. Then we got the college football playoff outlook. Oh, no. Sorry.
Beamer ball.
Beamer.
Well, it looks like Shane Beamer's swag was turned so far up against Tennessee that they had to drop a 60 burger on them boys. My God. Absolutely no remorse for the Tennessee
Rattler,
defense.
5 touchdown passes. I mean,
did you really think we were going to go on this show without me crapping all over the Voltards? Come on now.
I love it. I'm here for it.
I know. But here's some stats. I think South Carolina had 12 possessions. They scored on their first 5. Then it was halftime. They got told they had to go to the locker room before they could score again. Came out, had a 3 and out, scored 4 more, and then the last possession was the end of the game, and they took a knee. So that was insane. We've been saying it all year that the Tennessee defense was terrible. We've been saying it all year on here, especially the secondary is terrible. I mean, your secondary and your defense sucks. I mean, absolutely sucks. When you make Anthony Richardson and Spencer Rattler look like Heisman favorites in the game you play against them.
But you can't let Stet look like a Heisman.
I mean, if Georgia would have actually played offense in the second half, they would have, but they didn't have to. And a lot of people
it was the rain.
That's why they ran the ball the entire time, because they knew they didn't have to. They weren't going to allow any more points. They were just trying to control the clock. But that's besides the point. 63-38, Hendon Hooker. I know that we've had some things to say about Hendon Hooker on here, but I will say I don't like when anybody gets injured. I don't care if he plays for the team I hate the most. I hate that because he had a bright future in the NFL, and this is going to make his draft stock plummet a lot.
Yep.
So prayers out for Hendon Hooker. You did have a great year for Tennessee this year. And as far as South
recovery.
Yeah. But South Carolina, even running up the score at the end when they really, didn't have to. They said they did it because of what Tennessee did in Missouri last week. So they got a little piece of humble pie, needless to say. So, shout out Carolina, shout out Shane Beamer, dropping Tennessee out of the playoffs for the season. And Tennessee, well, don't worry, I'll get to you in a little bit.
I mean, I don't have anything to say about this other than Tennessee. I'm sorry, but you got absolutely boat raced.
Exposed, absolutely exposed.
Oh yeah, but sad to see Hennon go down, tearing his ACL. I mean, that was awful to see. You don't ever want anybody to end their season like that, especially like you said, if you hate them, which I wouldn't pee on this organization if it was on fire. But yeah, I mean, shout out Shane Beamer and the Cox for getting it done.
Mace.
Mace,
You know, I'm a Shane Beamer fan. I think that was a huge win for Shane Beamer, and I'm happy for him. And it's great seeing Tennessee lose. I mean, there's nothing better. And like y'all said, I hate what happened to Hendon Hooker because he was having a really good year. But I was very happy to see South Carolina just whoop up on him and humble him because them Tennessee fans, man, they
Needed it.
they like to run
They
their
did.
mouth.
they needed that so bad. I mean, anytime Tennessee even blinks and they win a game, it's just they just don't understand. Like,
Tennessee fans remind me of Yankee fans. Like,
yes,
they're the
it's
Southern Yankee fans. They haven't
I-
won shit, but
I
they
know.
still talk the most.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw a tweet. It was like after the Georgia game was over, but before the Tennessee game started, there were some Tennessee fans like, "Hey, at Georgia football, how does it feel to give up or give up only score 16 points against Kentucky?" And then somebody replied after the game, "Hey, Mike, how does it feel to give up 35 first half points against a team we gave up 6-2 the entire game?" So that was funny. But South Carolina, Tennessee, you both are on the next slide. So we ain't done talking about y'all yet. But I mean, did you really think we were going to not dedicate a slide to Tennessee losing to an unranked? Oh, another stat. The most points a ranked team has ever given up to an unranked team in college football history. So
wow,
there's that for you.
wow.
All right, well, rivalry week up next.
Rivalry week
Oh no,
after this.
I always freaking forget about our college
Well,
football
yeah,
outlook.
I know. Not a lot's changed. But we are down to 7.5 contenders. Yes, or LSU is a half contender now that Tennessee's gone, and Clemson. Yes, to anybody else out there, Clemson is now a contender after the Tennessee loss. They are ranked 8th, I believe, 7th, 8th. They are 8th, and if they win their conference championship and TCU loses and USC loses, they're going to get in. I'm just going to go ahead and tell everybody that right now. If Clemson wins the ACC, if USC loses, and if TCU loses, they're going to put Clemson in. They will.
I freaking hope not.
So get ready for that if that happens.
Because watch, Georgia's going to do the same thing that they did last year to Clemson.
And
But
who's
worse, because now they have Stet instead of JT.
Yeah.
Jackson Lindsay, I hope you're watching this pod.
That would be funny. I don't think he listens anymore, but I could be wrong. LSU, yes, they are now on the outlook because it's very realistic that they win. And I think even if they have 2 losses, if they beat Georgia, they're going to get in.
They're going to get in, yeah.
I mean, I think the committee made that pretty clear this week whenever they put them at 5 and USC at 6. They didn't jump USC over LSU.
No.
So that was the only reason why I put them on here. Now, if USC would have jumped LSU, we wouldn't have even had the third part. But, I mean, it's the same old undefeated. But one of those 2 teams is going to drop after this week. So Michigan, Ohio State, you have fun with that being up there. And then, I mean, anything else y'all need to add?
None, I mean, the only thing I have to add is that, yeah, if the committee lets in Clemson, that's awful. Especially if
every week
USC wins the Pac-12.
Every week that Notre Dame wins, the better Clemson's loss looks. So there's also that. No, they won't put in Clemson if USC wins the Pac-12 with 1 loss. But if USC loses one of their next 2 games and Clemson wins out, they're going to put in Clemson. So just go ahead and get ready for that. They'll jump Bama.
I agree.
But what if TC? Because I have a feeling that Texas is going to play TCU in the Big 12 championship. If TCU loses to Texas, because I think Kansas State loses to Kansas,
That's
and Texas
bold.
beats Baylor. But if TCU loses to Texas and Michigan loses to Ohio State, what two do you put in? Clemson and or USC? You put them both in,
I don't know.
even if Southern Cal loses.
Okay, so this is my thing. Is like the committee just wants TCU to lose. They don't want to put TCU in there. They made that pretty clear. So I feel like it doesn't matter if they go undefeated, lose in the conference championship. If they lose in the Big 12 championship, they're not going to put them in, or
No,
at
they're
least
not.
that's the sign that I've been getting. That's actually a really good scenario. If USC and Clemson both went out, I don't think they'll have to worry about jumping TCU. But if Ohio State loses to Michigan, they're going to put Ohio State in over one of those two teams.
And the thing that do you still put Michigan in if Southern Cal plays Oregon in the Pac-12 championship and then they lose, and
Yeah.
then
No, they won't put a two-loss Pac-12 champion in. The only two-loss team that has any shot of making the playoff is a two-loss SEC champion LSU Tigers team.
Hunter, you told me this a couple weeks ago, and man, I'm starting to believe it. Alabama's going to get in here somehow.
Look, man, I did say that on Sunday. I was scared that they were going to put Bama in, but I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it because Bama doesn't have a division. I don't know. There is one scenario, and it's 3 losses. A Clemson loss in the next 2 weeks, a USC loss in the next 2 weeks, and a TCU loss in the next 2 weeks. Bama is number 7 right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
If all 3 of those teams lose, then Alabama might get in. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I did say it. It's possible, but I don't see both USC and Clemson losing out or losing a game. One of those two teams will win out. I don't know, man. It's gonna be an intense next 2 weeks.
UCLA beat Did UCLA play Oregon this year?
Yes, Oregon beat them.
Oregon beat them?
Yeah. Oregon beat them.
Oh, Oregon lost to Washington too. Yeah, I forgot.
Oregon lost to Washington. They got absolutely boat raced by Georgia.
Yep. All right. Well.
But okay, so we'll just go ahead and say this: Georgia's a lock to get in. They're not losing to Georgia Tech, and even if they do lose to LSU,
that was the kiss of death.
If they lose to Georgia Tech, I'll let you run the pod by yourself next week. I'll be on suicide watch.
Whoa.
Georgia, LSU. All right, so Georgia's going to be a lot because even if they lose to LSU, they're going to get in as a 4 seed.
Yeah.
The winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game, they're going to boat race whoever they play from the Big Ten West and the Big Ten Championship. They're going to get in. So you have 2 locks on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just kind of up for grabs.
That's what I'm saying. Like if TCU loses and USC loses,
man. Let's say TCU loses to Iowa State this week, and then they go back next week to the Big 12 championship and they win. I feel like they should get the same respect that another team would get as a 1-loss conference champion. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I think if that's the case, then they might put them in over Alabama, but I don't know. It's Alabama. They always find a damn way. So,
because what other team? Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to dwindle on it.
Put in the Tulane Green Wave right now.
I'm in.
Dude, Mason and I love us betting on some Tulane Green Wave football, man.
Bankroll builders.
They have a very tough game this week. Talk about a group of 5 matchup. They're going on the road to Cincinnati. Winner goes to the American Athletic Conference Championship.
Say that 5 times fast.
And then the winner of that game will play UCF, and the winner of that game will probably go on to play in the Cotton Bowl against some team that they will get boat raced by. So
Arkansas, probably.
Arkansas just got bowl eligible. They'll be lucky to play in the Outback Bowl.
No, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They'll play freaking doormat school. They're gonna play Power 5, or they're going to play UTSA, or they're going to play somebody like that. They're not going to play anybody big.
No, the winner of the AAC usually goes to the Cotton Bowl to get boat raced by like Clemson.
Yeah.
So
I'll still
we'll
ride
see.
the wave.
I'll still ride Tulane if that happens. I'm cheering for them, man. I'm cheering for them hard. But that game's on a Friday for anybody that wants to watch a little Friday football action. They play
Little Friday
something.
Night Lights.
Yeah, man, we went through this stuff kind of fast, so we'll see how long this next slide takes us. I think we got about 12 games up. Here's our pick'em competition. Jansen and I are still tied because we took the same plays as each other last week, so not a lot changed.
Yeah. But man, we got a lot to cover
One,
this week.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the game of the week's
Game
next
of the
slide.
week.
So 10 games, but we wanted to do something special because we're not going to have the opportunity to talk about this many games in the same week anymore. So let's knock her out one by one. We ain't got to rush too much. We're only about halfway through where I'd like to be, so I think we'll be good. We can talk a little bit about all this. But yeah, let's get right on into it. We got 9 of these to cover, so on this slide at least.
Got
First
Tennessee
one up.
taking on
Tennessee Voltards
Florida's
driving down, going to where?
taking on Florida's big brother.
Oh yeah, Florida's big brother. Shout out Vandy. When did we think we'd live in a world where Vandy would be on a 2-game SEC winning streak?
Solid.
It is solid. Yep, Tennessee heading on the road to Nashville, taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. They are 14-point favorites without Hendon Hooker. Joe Milton is expected to start. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I've already gotten Vandy at plus 16. But their athletic director, I don't know if you heard about this, Jansen. Their athletic director said if students show up to the game or whatnot and it's a sellout, they'll take $10,000 off the student tuition. So, which
No way, that's ridiculous.
well, no, it's really not that much because when my buddy and I looked up this morning, a year to go to Vanderbilt as a private school is $8K, $40K a semester. So, yeah, I mean, but hey, $10K off is still $10K off. So, man, I just don't know what to expect. I just don't know. I think the upset is very, very likely. Vandy's hot. It is Dorvember. I mean, Joe Milton, yeah, he has a rocket arm, but do we know where that ball's going to go all the time? We kind of seen him play at Michigan 2 years ago. Saw him play a little bit for Tennessee last year. He's been in spurts this year. I'm not sold on anything which way or the other. So I think the safest bet right now is just to take Vandy plus the points, and then I will screw it. I'll take Vandy to win outright. Go Commodores.
You're taking Vandy to win outright?
Yeah.
Might as well just drop your mic on the floor.
No, I just
The hottest pick of the freaking year.
Nah, okay. I'll take Vandy to cover, and I'll take Tennessee to win the game. How about that?
That's
Mate,
what I'm going to do.
God, I actually have a points competition going on here. I got to win. So, also, Tennessee's ranked 10th. I just did not put that in this morning, but they are ranked 10th.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say. I thought you said Vandy was ranked 10th. I was like, no way.
No, Tennessee's 10th.
Yeah.
But Mason, who you taking, bud?
Boys, I'm taking I like Vandy covering the spread. You know, at home, they're going to sell out. They got momentum. I'm sure not Nashville's going to be buzzing. So I think Vandy's going to cover, but I think Tennessee will end up getting the dub. But I like Vandy covering for sure, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vandy did win, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, now without Hendon,
yeah, I mean,
you're playing
like guys, if Vandy wins, they're going to a bowl game.
that's right. They got something big to play for.
I mean, they're going to take this game like it is their Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
I mean, shit, they might win.
it's possible. It's very.
Because now I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah, they don't have Hendon, and this kid that's going to come in to replace Hendon hadn't played all year.
Yeah.
And look what just happened when he came in against South Carolina. I mean,
they were already going to lose that game, but yeah, they didn't look too good. Next game up, Mason. We said this game's it's on Friday, ain't it? 7:30 kick. Florida State.
I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah, I believe this is 7:30 kick on Friday.
it is.
Noles are 9.5-point favorites, ranked 16th. They're playing really good football, boys. Florida State is playing very good football. Staying at home in Tallahassee, taking on the Florida Gators. A little in-state rivalry action. I'm going to take the Noles, and I'm going to lay the 9.5. I think Florida's done. I think they got their bowl eligibility, and they're checking out. And I just think Florida State's on a roll. They've been a wagon the past few weeks, and I'm going to take them to cover 9.5.
I'm going to take them to cover 9.5 as well. Florida, I mean, we've seen them this year. They have not looked like anything other than week 1 against Utah. But I'm going to take the Noles and Tallahassee minus 9.5.
The gay turds got to go to Tallahassee. I like Florida State minus 9.5. Tallahassee's a great place, great environment, and I think they're going to cover. I mean, I don't see Florida doing much against them. So give me the Noles.
Yep.
I like it.
All right. I like that. I think we're all on the same side on that one. All right. We'll go to the Palmetto Bowl. Number 8, Clemson at home. Clemson doesn't lose home game, boys, but they are hosting in-state rival from Columbia, South Carolina, coming off a big win against Tennessee. The Tigers are 14.5-point favorites. If this line was at 14, I would take Clemson. I don't know which way to lean. I'm going to take Clemson to win the game. They are playing at home. I don't know. Clemson's been playing really good ball, actually, the past 2 weeks. They've actually put up a decent amount of points that the spotlight isn't shining down on them. Give me the home team to cover. Give me Clemson minus 14.5.
Mason, I'll let you go, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
South Carolina going to Clemson. Give me the Cox. Give me the Cox with the upset.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get it done Saturday.
I love it.
All good things must have to go then. Give me the Cox.
Because, look, here's my thing, and I agree with Mason. Like, we have watched Clemson football all year. And, look, they've had spurts where they've been good, and then they play like dog crap.
Yep.
In this game, like you just said, Hunter, they've been playing good for the past couple of weeks. They're going to have a hiccup. I think South Carolina goes into Clemson and gets the job done, and they win this football game. I'm taking South Carolina plus 14.5, and I'm going to sprinkle on their money line.
Coming off a big win.
Exactly. Got motivation from beating Tennessee. I mean, I think that's just going to feed into this week. So, but
South Carolina scored 3 points in the past 2 appearances against Clemson.
I don't care. It's going to be different this time.
Yeah.
Y'all want to make y'all both want to do a bet with me just straight up?
Sure.
They have to do it.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that one.
Yeah, we can talk about this when this is over.
Yeah. All right, another Friday night game. Jesus Christ. I mean, I feel like every time it's like every other week, Texas is ranked 23rd or something. Like they just can't make up their mind if they want to be ranked or not. What?
It's bipolar Texas.
Yeah, but I feel like they shouldn't even be ranked because like next week they might not even be ranked. Depending on what they're going to do against Baylor. Texas needs this win, but you just don't know what Texas team's going to show up. And I'm going to take Texas to win the game, but I'm going to take Baylor plus 8.5. And the only reason I'm taking Texas to win is because it's at home.
I'm going to take Texas to win as well, but I'm going to take Baylor to cover. Texas has just been so inconsistent this year. I don't think they cover the 8.5, but I do think they win at home for sure.
I'm with y'all. I think Texas at home, I think they can pull it out, but I think Baylor will cover 8.5. Baylor is physical. They play hard, but I think it being in Austin, I'm going to go with Texas winning, but Baylor covering 8.5.
But, yeah, this is going to be another good game to watch on Friday. I'm excited that. And then, Florida State, man.
We got a good slate Friday.
Yeah, Jance, we're going to be
I was about to say, we're going to be watching some good football on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, man, this was – I mean, if Michigan and Ohio State weren't playing this week, USC would be back-to-back game of the week. So I think this game's going to be really, really good. Number 6, USC, staying in Los Angeles, 5.5-point favorites, taking on 15th ranked Notre Dame, who started off the season very slow, hit a few speed bumps, but now has a chance for a 9-win season. Boys, who y'all got? I'll let you start it off, Chance.
Notre Dame's fraudulent. I mean, yeah, they've been playing good football, but I don't think this quarterback is anything. But I am going to take USC minus 5.5 because I mean they got something to win. They got something to play for. They're playing for a college football playoff spot and a Pac-12 championship, and I think that USC gets it done. I know Notre Dame is kind of on their high horse right now, and they are playing good football, but I just don't see them beating them, and I don't see them covering 5.5. I think USC wins by a touchdown.
Yeah, I'll go. Man, this rivalry back in the day used to be big game, and I'm glad they brought it back for the last week of the season this year, and it's not stuck somewhere in the middle or 2 weeks before the last week or anything like that. But I think this matchup, as far as for USC, it does not go in their favor. Notre Dame's defense is good, and USC's defense is not very good, and Notre Dame can do just enough against the bad defense. I am going to take USC to win, though, because I feel like, they are more resilient. Lincoln Riley's got them boys right. And I think, like you said, they got something to play for. Like, they can make the playoff year one under Lincoln Riley. I think Caleb Williams is that dude, and he has a chance to better his Heisman resume. So I am going to take USC to win. I'm going to lay 5.5, or I'm going to take the points 5.5 with Notre Dame. I think it's close.
I'm with y'all. I'm taking USC minus 5.5. Like y'all said, they have something to play for. And I mean, if they lose this game, I mean, they got no shot at making the playoffs. So I think they're gonna get it done Saturday. Caleb Williams is a dude, and I think they can get it done. And they need to. They have to. So I think they're gonna have that mentality going into Saturday, and they're gonna take that and win.
All right, man. Well, here's a game I did not expect to be a ranked matchup come last week of the season, but we have what was formerly known as the Civil War, but we will continue to call it that on this show because we don't stand for that woke BS. Number 9, Oregon, traveling to Corvallis, taking on Oregon State. They are 3-point favorites. The Ducks just coming off a nice win against Utah at home, and Oregon State's been playing pretty solid ball for the most part this year. Almost beat USC at home earlier in the season. Had some ups and downs, but I'm going to take Oregon to win. I think they're just better all around. If Bo Nix can, play, because it was pretty obvious to tell that he was not 100% against Utah. So if he can get that ankle good to go, I don't think Oregon will have any doubt or leave this game in doubt. I think they can cover 3.
I agree. I mean, I think if Bo Nix's ankle is healthy, like you said, then he's able to use his legs more to his full potential. And I think if he does that, then they cover 3 easily against Oregon State. But, I mean, the Beavers might make it close, man. I mean, they've been playing good ball this year. I mean, they're ranked number 21 in the nation. But
the Beavers, that defense is pretty solid, man.
Yeah.
If Bo Nix is still just as bad as he was last week as far as healthiness goes, I could see Oregon State covering 3, but I'm just going to play it safe.
Winning.
Oh, I could see an upset here, no doubt. I mean, if Oregon does lose, Washington's going to the Pac-12 championship game. So
shout out my Huskies.
Shout out your Huskies, man. You were the only person in America, I swear. But this game is
like you and St. Peter's.
Okay, yeah. Mace, what do you think about this game, bud?
I got Oregon covering 3. If Bo Nix plays for sure, I think they can win by double digits, but he won't be full healthy, so this game could go either way. Really, it just really depends on how.
But I'm just trusting my gut. I'm trusting Dan Lanning. I don't know if 3's enough.
I agree.
If this line was at 5.5 or 6, I'd lay those points with Oregon State.
But
I just don't think 3's enough for me to say. But I could see him win outright. I just, I ain't got the guts to say it on here. So The next one, man, this is going to be an interesting game.
Egg
The
Bowl.
the Egg Bowl on Thursday night, Thanksgiving night. The Rebels versus Bulldogs. Mike Leach and Mississippi State got to travel to Oxford, take on now 20th ranked. 20th. Can you believe that? 2 weeks. They go from top 10 to 20. Ole Miss Rebels, 2-point favorites. Who y'all got, boys?
I'm going to take Mississippi State +2. I mean, I think this Mississippi State offense is very elite and very overlooked. Will Rogers, I mean, we've talked about him a lot on the pod this year. I mean, he has an absolute cannon for an arm, and I think that this Ole Miss defense is. I mean, I saw that the way they played against Arkansas, and the way that they played against Arkansas, Mississippi State plays. I mean, I wouldn't say mediocre, but like above average ball for what they've been playing this year. I think they have a chance of beating them. So I'm going to take Mississippi State +2, and Ole Miss loses 3 weeks in a row, and then I'm calling Lane Kiffin to Auburn.
I like Lane Kiffin and the boys -2, but I'm with you, Jansen. The way they played last week, I think something's up. I mean, I seen that Lane Kiffin posted on Twitter that like there was nothing to it or anything about the rumors or anything, but I think there is because I think it's already a solidified deal and it's just kept in right now. I think that's the truth because they did not impress me last week at all. And
I agree.
So I would not be surprised if Mississippi State went to Oxford and won, but I'm going with my gut here on this one. I'm taking Ole Miss -2. I don't think the Pirate can get it done this week.
As far as this game goes, man, like y'all said, it's just so much in the air as far as Lane Kiffin's future at Ole Miss. Because I feel like if he was staying at Ole Miss, he would have already signed a new deal and it would have been announced. So I don't know. He might be going to Auburn. We'll find out after about one half of this game on Friday what he's going to be doing, or on Thursday. And on Friday, if he is going to Auburn, it will be announced on Friday. And no later than Sunday. So if he's going, you'll find out this weekend at some point. I think the talent as far as ground and pound goes, and what I've seen out of Mississippi State's defense, I'm taking Ole Miss to win the game. I'll take a -2. There's not that many points to lay. But I would not be surprised if Mike Leach and the Bulldogs get it done. You just never know. But I'm going to give Ole Miss the edge. They are in Oxford. And, I mean, I'm just going to, hope that Lane Kiffin coaches the final game of the season correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can be worse than Bobby Petrino and leaving at halftime for Arkansas. So.
Nothing could be worse than that. But you know what I would really like to see? And since we're talking about it, I mean, if Lane Kiffin's saying what he actually being truthful about what he's saying and saying that there's nothing happening between him and Ole Miss, I could see Dion going to Auburn. And I think he'd be crazy at Auburn. I think he'd be a great coach at Auburn, but I don't know if Auburn would do that or not. But
I could see Dion at a place like Tech.
Yeah. Georgia Tech?
Yeah. As well. I could see that as well.
That's where he'd do his best recruiting at. Like, I think he could get some dudes into Tech and completely change that program. I think he could Auburn too, because Auburn, their facilities, they got a good program with the right coach. But I could see Dion fitting really well at Georgia Tech. That's what.
And the thing with Kiffin and Ole Miss is if he wants to win a national championship, or have the shot to win the national championship, he's got to leave Ole Miss because Ole Miss doesn't have the money for it. They don't have the facility for it. They just. I think it's hard to recruit at Ole Miss, and I think Auburn would be a lot easier than it. Would be at Ole Miss to
that's how I feel too.
Have a shot.
I mean, I agree with all those points you just made, Jansen. And I do think at the end of the day, I think he will go to Auburn, if I'm being quite frank. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did stay at Ole Miss. I don't know. I feel like everything is leaning towards Auburn, but as far as Deion Sanders goes, like Mason said, I think Georgia Tech would be a better place for him to go right now. I'm not saying that one day he can't be an SEC caliber coach, but I feel like going from the SWAC and the HBCU straight to the SEC might not be the best move for his
no.
future and his career. So like Georgia Tech, but I don't know if they're going to get him. I mean, because Dion's going to be like, well, this is what I'm going to need. I'm going to need you to lower your academic standard. And if you want me to get your players in here, then you want me as your head coach. That's what you're going to have to do. And then I just don't know if that'll all work out between the parties, but we'll see. Dion might end up staying at Jackson State. I feel like that's becoming more of a reality every day because he's doing something special down there. So
what he said, he announced it to his team like a couple weeks ago. He said, "Don't listen to any of the rumors." He said, "I'm not going anywhere." So
yeah, well, that sounds a lot better until he sees a big
Yeah.
pay raise.
I was about to say till he sees that check sitting in front of him.
yeah.
But enough about Deion Sanders, Auburn Tech. We'll get to number 5 LSU, 9.5-point favorites traveling to College Station. This definitely could be a look-ahead game. Don't get it twisted, but it's not. I don't think it'll really matter that much because Texas A&M, if you can't beat UMass by more than 20 points, you are
That was
yeah.
that was so beautiful.
I don't care that it was raining. It is the University of Massachusetts. They have one win all year, and they are notoriously been a terrible program. I couldn't even tell you the last time they've even been to a bowl game. They haven't been able to stick in the same conference for God knows how long, and you could barely beat them. But shout out Jimbo, first win since September, so you got that going for you.
The fighting
Taking LSU, and I'm laying the 9.5.
Texas Baggies.
What are y'all going? I said I'm taking LSU and laying the 9.5.
Oh, I mean, okay. So here's my thing: is Evan Stewart, their all freshman wide receiver, said in a locker room interview that by some of the media at the school said they were talking about rivalry week, and he said that the dream of the team's dream is to ruin LSU's season. So I think that Texas A&M is going to have more fight in them this week than they have all year, and I want to go with A&M, but I'm not. I'm going with LSU. I'm taking the 9.5. I don't see A&M doing anything because they're god awful. And this quarterback that they have, I mean, did y'all see that pass that he threw? He went to go throw it, and while he was in motion, he throws it backwards.
Not do that. But, I mean, was it not their dream to make a run at the SEC West and the SEC Championship and possibly
have a better record than Vandy? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, has that not been their dream all year too? So
yeah, true.
We'll see.
Good point.
Mace.
But yeah, I'm gonna take LSU minus 9.5.
I got Jansen, I know you cheer for A&M over there in Texas and whatnot.
Not really. I really don't. The team that I follow the most is the Dogs. I mean, I go to an A&M game every now and then,
but that is a dumpster fire. Jimbo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is a dumpster fire. Jimbo, he's in trouble over there. I mean, he's got players smoking dope after the game in South Carolina's locker room. He does not have the respect of his team. I mean, that is just a pure out dumpster fire. And that they've been pitiful this year. I mean, it's been bad. So I got LSU by definitely
a million.
I think they could win by 20 plus.
I agree. I think they could go if LSU could go into Arkansas and play in the freezing cold, then I think they can go into Kyle Field. But I mean, Kyle Field is a crazy environment.
It is.
But
it looked pretty empty last week.
I was about to say I was just about to say after the season they've had A&M's had this year, I'm not surprised if there won't be a single person on the stand.
Yep. But then the final SEC matchup we'll talk about, SEC West matchup. It's hard not to include it. I know Auburn's having a down year. I guess it's a down year for Alabama too. But it's hard not to include it on here, man. Alabama, Auburn, it's the Iron Bowl. The Tigers, now led by Cadillac Williams, have won, 3 games?
I think
I
4.
think three. I think three, maybe four. They won. Who they beat last week? Western Kentucky. Congratulations, you beat Western Kentucky. Um, Going on the road to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 22-point favorite, tied. I'll take Alabama, and I guess I'll lay 20. No, I don't care. I'm taking Alabama, and give me 22 points with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going to take Alabama to win, but I'm going to take Auburn to cover 22. I think Cadillac Williams is going to get these boys fired.
That's a lot of points for a
Yeah.
game. Like, it doesn't matter how bad or how good one team is. This game usually
Always close.
Yeah, it tends to stay close.
It's like Michigan State. It's always close.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to take Alabama to win, but I'm going to take Auburn and cover the 22. And, okay, but actually, here, go Mason, and then you can say who you think, and then I'm going to ask.
I like Auburn plus 22, and I think Alabama's going to win, but my gut wants me to pick Auburn with the upset this week, so that's what I'm going to do. I like me some Cadillac Williams, and I want them to go in there and get it done. So that's what I'm going to go with.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Proud of you, man. Yeah, go with your gut.
By the way, my one of my best bets this week is under 51 points in this game. I don't think 51 will get touched. Just for anybody else that was curious, like you two. All right, Jance, what were the comments you had to make?
All right, I have a couple questions. So, let's say Clemson loses to South Carolina.
Oh, here we go with the scenarios again.
No, I have to because I have to have this question answered.
Okay.
So if South Carolina beats Clemson,
Yep.
Notre Dame beats USC.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And LSU beats A&M, then loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, and Alabama covers 22 on Auburn. Do you put Alabama in the playoff after Michigan or Ohio State loses?
No, you would have the same 4 teams that you have in there right now. They would put a 1-loss Michigan or Ohio State in over at 2-loss LSU, and they're not going to put LSU behind Bama after LSU beat them.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Good point.
that's
Good
right.
point. Thank you for answering that. I was I've been stuck on that all day. Probably still going to be stuck on it. Probably thinking about it the entire rest of the day, but
it's all good. Well, man, this is the
game of the week.
I mean, it feels like every single week we talk about this game. We've been talking about it. This line's actually gone down to 7.5. So if you think Ohio State's gonna cover 7.5, I go ahead and take it now because I wouldn't be surprised if it jumped back up. But with so many question marks on this game, is Blake Corum going to play?
I was about to say, is he officially ruled out?
No. Look, I was going to tell you right now, Harbaugh's going to keep that shut. Nobody's going to know until 12 o'clock on Saturday afternoon when they take the field. That's the biggest question mark as far as this game goes, because if Blake Corum plays, Michigan has a legit chance to win. I don't care if it's at Ohio State. I'm tired of hearing it's at Ohio State because a terrible Oregon team came in there last year and whooped up on Ohio State. So I'm tired of hearing that. What are you showing me on your phone?
You can't see it, but it says the Columbus Dispatch has written Michigan running back Blake Corum plans to return versus Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh gives no injury update.
Yeah, there won't be in a quote-unquote official word about it until 12 o'clock on Saturday if I had to take a guess. But I will lean towards him playing, but still, man, I don't know. I feel like Ohio State's been thinking about this for about a year now.
Blake Corum has come out personally and said, it's good. His knee said, it's good. I'll be fine. I'll be back.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess Corum will play.
I'm switching my answer real quick then.
Oh, you're going to switch your thing?
Yeah.
Well, if Corum plays, I think I already have him. We'll get to that in a second. I'm just trying to do a little outlook at the game. But, man, we all know the winner of this game wins the Big Ten East. They'll go on to Indianapolis and play for a conference championship and make the playoff. So we'll see, man. This is going to be a good one. Ohio State's been, sleeping on this for about a year. Stroud's got a point to prove. He's never beaten Michigan, so we'll see. And can Harbaugh go back-to-back years of beating Ohio State? But that's just kind of the outlook, man. We'll go into the next slide. So
I
here's
gotta switch up my answer a little bit.
yeah. Well, now that you've done some research, you can go ahead. I'll let you go first.
So if Blake Corum is, well, obviously he's not going to be fully healthy, but if he gets a lot of the snaps and plays, I mean, not even his best, but if he just plays like a solid running back, then I think Michigan does have a shot to beat Ohio State, because this Michigan defense, I think, is very, very superior and will give this Ohio State offense a run for their money and won't allow them to score as many points. But I'm going to switch up my answer here. I don't think now that I really think about it, I don't think Ohio State's going to score 42. And I'm going to take Michigan to win this game. And I'm going to take Michigan to win by 3. I'm not going to give you a number. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to tell you Michigan's going to, if they win, they're going to win by 3.
I agree. And now that Blake Corum has been announced that he's going to play, or from what we think, I mean, that could
'Cause
change. Who knows?
I've had this gut feeling all year, and I'm going to stick to
Oh,
this
me
gut
too.
feeling.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I've been on record on here saying that Michigan's going to whoop Ohio State. I don't know, man. It's just like I didn't see the last thing I saw of Michigan was a terrible performance. I know we saw a terrible performance from Ohio State too, but Michigan's looked worse. And they didn't have
You
Blake
saw a
Corum.
terrible performance from Georgia too. Think they're going to get beat by Georgia Tech? No, absolutely not.
No, I know, man. I'm stuck because this was my score prediction, and I was so confident in this. If Corum's not playing, I was like, oh, this is going to be close to the numbers right here. But I'm still going to take. No, man. I've been saying it all year. If Corum plays, I'm going to take Michigan to win. That's what I'll say. If Corum plays, I'll take Michigan to win. If Corum does not play, this is going to be the score, and I'm not going to give a number or score prediction if or for just at that one scenario. I'll just say, like you said, I'll stick with you. If Corum plays, Michigan will win from anywhere from 3 to 7 points.
I like it.
All right, Mace.
I got.
What about you, Mace?
With Blake Corum playing, I got Ohio State winning and covering. I don't think either team is going to show up playing bad. I think both of them are going to show up playing their absolute best ball, knowing what's on state. And I just think Ohio State's going to get it done this week. I think C.J. Stroud, he's good. He's good. I'll give credit where credit's due. He is good, and I think he is going to have himself a game, and he has dangerous weapons all over the field. And I think with or without Blake Corum, I think Ohio State wins and covers, and I like them 34-26, the Buckeyes.
I like it.
I like that. I mean,
a little controversy.
That's the thing, like, about this game is that Ohio State can come out and play like the Ohio State we've known in the past and absolutely blow out Michigan. This game could be close, or, I mean, honestly, Michigan can win this game by 2 touchdowns, and I wouldn't be surprised by any sort of outcome that happens.
Yeah.
But I think Michigan's defense is very, very good. I think it's going to battle test that Ohio State offense.
Because that Ohio State offense, like, if you went back and you watched the entire Ohio State-Penn State game, they sucked against that Penn State defense. And that Penn State defense does not hold a candle to this Michigan defense.
And Ohio State or Michigan could run the ball up and down on on Penn State. Ohio State could not run it on Penn State. And that was like a big deal. So that's why at the time I was so hell-bent on choosing Michigan. But now, I don't know. I'm going to choose Michigan to win. If Corum plays, like I said, I'll take Michigan to win. If he doesn't, I'll take Ohio State 31-23.
I like it.
But I think that does it for us. I know I'm back at home for Thanksgiving break, so I don't have the beer deer here with me. So I think we're just going to leave that part out. And we had a lot of games to talk about. So, but I enjoyed this. I enjoy having our little special guest. And
yes, thank you, man. Appreciate you, man.
Say something.
Go ahead.
Dogs by 90. Go Dogs.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Georgia Tech.
Why would I put that game in there, dude?
Give me 35.5 this week.
Wait, what's the line? 35.5?
35.5.
35.5.
Jesus.
Give me 35.5. I want it all.
In the pouring down rain.
I want it all.
Wow.
I don't
Good
care
for
if
you,
it's
man.
snowing. I don't care if it's a blizzard.
You don't care if there's 6 feet of snow. You're still going to take.
Give me the Dogs.
Stetson Bennett might not be able to see, but hey, I'm still going to take the 35 and a
That's
half.
right.
But all right, man. All right, I got one question for y'all before we get out of here.
Go
With the
ahead, bud.
season coming to a close, who are you going to give your Heisman pick to?
I was gonna since there was only about 4 or 5 games we're gonna talk about next week. That was gonna be part of the plan, was to talk about the Heisman. But if the season ended today, my wallet would say give it to CJ Stroud. But if I didn't have any say as far as financially goes, I would take Caleb Williams.
Me too. I'm going to take. I think Caleb Williams deserves it.
I think CJ Stroud has a big game Saturday, and I think he's going to have another Heisman moment. So I think I'd give it to CJ Stroud right now. If I had to pick somebody right now, I think I'd pick CJ Stroud. So.
Because it's crazy. If you would have asked me that question a week ago, I would have told you Hendon Hooker.
I would be leaning close to Hendon Hooker too, because
Yeah,
No, I would have said Stroud last week, but I think Williams.
That's
played
because
his
you
ass.
got your freaking entire net worth on it.
No, I just don't think. I think Hendon Hooker's overrated. I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he's had a Heisman caliber season, but he will be nothing in the NFL. He runs a system.
If he was, yeah, true. Oh, what about Bo Nix?
Blow dicks. No.
I'm calling it right now. The freaking
rated
Houston
R.
Texans are going to draft him with the first pick in the freaking
I've gone rated
NFL
R
draft.
in a few minutes, but no. Bo Nix he's had a good season, but his team's lost 2 games, and I don't know. He hasn't really proved a whole lot to me. I feel like last week I would have told you Drake May. That boy's been balling, but he absolutely pissed down his leg this past week against a terrible Georgia Tech team. So at home, that was bad. So
All right, man.
that's a nice little cliffhanger to leave us on for next week, man. But Mason, we've enjoyed having you. Congratulations
thank
on
you.
winning the contest.
Having me, boys.
You did a very good job. We're going to do another contest here soon. I know we're going to have a special guest here on soon. Actually, he just sent me a text. Let's see. I asked him if I had permission to announce. Oh, all right. He said he probably should be able to, and he said I can go ahead and announce it. But here in the next 2-3 weeks, we'll be having a special guest on, quarterback at Stanford University, Ashton Daniels, will be coming on to the Going for Two podcast. So that'll be a fun and exciting thing to get going.
I'll be sick. Can't wait to talk to him and have him on. It's going to be sick.
Yep. Well, that'll do it for us, boys.
Right,
Enjoyed it, boys. Enjoy watching y'all's pod every week.
Oh, well, we appreciate
you for watching.
Yeah, man.
We appreciate you for watching. But everybody watching, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for always tuning in.
Hang on. I think somebody wants
appreciate
to say
each and every
hello.
one of you.
I think somebody wants to say hello.
Peace out,
Big
boy.
John, what's up?
They're ready to see you this weekend. All right. Well, that was nice to have a little special appearance from the #1 listener in all the land, Big John. But God first, God bless. We appreciate y'all all. We'll see y'all later.
See you, boys. Go Dogs.